The wrought iron gates of Ashford Castle stood before me like a judgment. Beyond them, white tents dotted the manicured lawn, and string quartets drifted through the October air. My brother's wedding. The social event of the season according to my mother's endless Facebook posts. Name. The security guard barely looked up from his clipboard. Maya Ashford. I'm the groom's sister. His finger traced down the list. Once. Twice. He frowned. I don't see you here. Are you sure you're invited? Behind me a BMW honked. The guard's jaw tightened. Ma'am, I need you to move your vehicle. I'm on that list. I have to be. Maya. My mother's voice cut through the tension. She emerged from a white Escalade in champagne silk. My father followed, then my Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert. The whole family procession. Mom, they're saying I'm not on the list. She barely glanced at me. Oh well, you know how it is. Wedding planning is so complicated. She turned to the guard with her society smile. She can come in. She's family. The guard hesitated. Ma'am, I have strict instructions. No single guests, my Aunt Linda announced. Didn't you get the memo, Maya? Couples only. It's an elevated aesthetic. Having single people ruins the table arrangements. Vanessa, my future sister-in-law. The woman who'd redesigned my brother Derek's entire personality. I'm his sister, I repeated, hating how small my voice sounded. Of course you are, sweetheart. My mother's tone was consoling but dismissive. But you understand. Vanessa's family is very particular. They're paying for most of this. The Thorntons are old money, Linda added. They have standards. The security guard's radio crackled. We need to keep the line moving. Just park in town and walk up, my cousin Sophie suggested. It's only a mile or so. My father finally spoke. Maya, don't make a scene. It's Derek's day. They swept past me through the gates. Not one of them looked back. I sat in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel, watching guest after guest arrive. Couples, of course. Everyone paired off like boarding Noah's Ark. The Thorntons made quite an entrance. 3 Mercedes SUVs, moving with the confidence of people who'd never been told they weren't on a list. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. Mom said there was confusion at the gate. Sorry. Vanessa's parents insisted on the couples-only thing. You understand, right? No, are you okay? No, let me fix this. Just an apology that wasn't really an apology. I texted back. I understand perfectly. Then I called my property manager. Tom? It's Maya. I need you to pull the Ashford Castle contract. Yes, the wedding venue. Pull everything. Build up. The staff entrance was around the back. I'd used it dozens of times over the past 2 years, ever since I'd purchased the property through my LLC. The castle had been a foreclosure that I'd bought for a fraction of its value, spent 18 months renovating, and turned into the most exclusive wedding venue in the tri-state area. My family had no idea. Why would they? They'd stopped asking about my work years ago, back when I'd dropped out of law school to pursue real estate investment. Such a waste, my mother had said. What she meant was, you're embarrassing us. Derek had been the golden child since birth. Law degree from Yale. Partnership track at father's firm. Picture-perfect relationship with Vanessa Thornton, whose family tree included 2 senators. When he proposed at Christmas dinner last year, my mother had cried. When I'd mentioned closing on my 3rd commercial property that same evening, she'd changed the subject. The kitchen staff knew me. Head chef Marcus looked up from supervising appetizer prep. Ms. Ashford. Didn't expect to see you here today. Just checking on things. His expression shifted to understanding. One of those families. I'd learned young that being underestimated had advantages. While Derek collected accolades, I collected properties. While my parents bragged about his billable hours, I quietly built a portfolio worth 8 figures. The castle was my crown jewel, a statement property that had attracted attention from wedding planners across 3 states, including Vanessa's wedding planner who'd sent an inquiry 6 months ago. I'd recognized my brother's name immediately. For one brief moment I'd considered revealing myself. Then I'd imagined my mother's reaction and instructed Tom to handle everything through the LLC. They'd never asked about the venue owner. Rich people rarely wonder about the staff. Through the kitchen window I could see the ceremony beginning. White chairs in perfect rows. Derek at the altar in his tuxedo. Vanessa floated down the aisle in a dress that would be featured in bridal magazines for years. My mother dabbed at her eyes. The Thorntons occupied the front row like visiting royalty. The contract had been for $60,000. According to my records, it still hadn't been paid. My phone buzzed. Tom calling. I pulled the file, he said. The Thorntons tried to negotiate the price down 3 weeks ago. Claimed the venue wasn't as exclusive as advertised. Threatened negative reviews. I watched Vanessa kiss my brother through the window. Do they know who owns the property? No. The LLC is airtight. As far as they know, they're dealing with a faceless corporation. The ceremony ended. Guests moved toward the reception tent. I could see the head table, 12 seats total. None for me. I made my way to the venue manager's office. My office technically. The walls were lined with photos of past weddings and prominently displayed, the deed to the property framed behind the desk. Property ownership, Maya Catherine Ashford. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Ms. Ashford? There's a situation. The mother of the bride is demanding we comp the champagne service. She's threatening not to pay the balance. The balance was $20,000. Due today. Where is she? Reception tent. Making quite a scene. Revelation. I emerged into the reception area just as Mrs. Thornton's voice reached a crescendo. This is absolutely unacceptable. Do you know who we are? The Thornton family has been hosting events at prestigious venues for generations. We will not be extorted by some budget castle operation. The venue coordinator Sarah stood frozen. Around them guests were staring. My mother tried to intervene, looking mortified. Derek and Vanessa watched from the head table, their perfect day developing cracks. Mom, please, Vanessa hissed. You're making a scene. I'm protecting our family from fraud. This place advertised itself as exclusive, but the silverware is rental quality. The linens aren't even Egyptian cotton. My Aunt Linda joined in. She's right. For $60,000 we expected better. My mother wasn't defending the venue, she was agreeing. I did think the flowers looked sparse. Sarah's eyes found mine across the tent. She looked close to tears. I stepped forward. Is there a problem? Mrs. Thornton wheeled on me. Who are you? Another undertrained staff member. I'm Maya. I'm handling this situation. Well, get your manager. I want whoever owns this establishment down here immediately. We're not paying another cent. She squinted at me. Wait, you look familiar. Are you serving staff? She's nobody, my Aunt Linda interjected. Just Derek's sister. The single one. The sister who wasn't on the guest list. Mrs. Thornton's expression turned triumphant. Perfect. Even the groom's own family wasn't properly accommodated. This venue is clearly disorganized. Maya. My mother's voice held a warning. Don't make this worse. Go wait in the parking lot. Derek stood up. Maya, seriously. Not now. But Vanessa was staring at me. Ashford, she said slowly. Maya Ashford. The castle is called Ashford Castle. She turned to her mother. What was the name on the deed? I smiled. Why don't we check? Sarah caught on immediately. I can pull up the ownership documents. That won't be necessary. I pulled out my phone and held up the screen. The property deed crystal clear. The castle is owned by Ashford Castle Estate Management, LLC. Which is owned by me. The silence was exquisite. Mrs. Thornton's face went through several shades of red. That's impossible. You're nobody. You're the unmarried sister who couldn't even make the guest list. I'm the unmarried sister who owns the venue where you're currently hosting a wedding. A wedding with a $20,000 outstanding balance. I looked at Sarah. What's the cancellation policy on unpaid events? Sarah pulled up her tablet. Immediate termination of services, ma'am. Security escort for all guests. Penalty fee of 30%. You wouldn't dare, my mother breathed. Maya, this is your brother's wedding. The brother who left me at the gate? Derek had gone pale. Maya, I didn't know. You didn't know I owned the castle? Or you didn't know I was your sister when you took me off the guest list? 200 people watched in silence. Vanessa stood up, wobbling. This is insane. You're some kind of real estate person? You don't look successful. I don't look successful. I drive a 3-year-old Civic. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. I shop at Target. So I must be struggling, right? I turned to address the tent. My portfolio includes 12 commercial properties, 6 residential buildings, and 3 event venues across 3 states. Total value, approximately $82 million. This castle? I bought it for $4 million during foreclosure. My father found his voice. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. Last Thanksgiving I mentioned closing on a historic property. Mom changed the subject to Derek's promotion. At Christmas I brought up expanding my business. Dad suggested I should settle down instead. I let that hang. You stopped listening years ago. Tom appeared at my elbow. He handed me a folder. The evidence file. I opened it, showing Mrs. Thornton the first page. These are emails your wedding planner sent, trying to negotiate our prices down after booking. You requested cheaper linens. You asked us to substitute the champagne. We refused and maintained premium service. I flipped to another page. And here's the interesting part. You're not old money at all. Your husband filed for bankruptcy 6 years ago. You remortgaged your house to pay for this wedding. You're drowning in debt, hoping to bully a small business into eating the costs. Vanessa made a small wounded sound. The couple's only policy wasn't about aesthetics, I continued. It was about reducing the guest count to lower catering costs. The late invitation to me? You were hoping I wouldn't come. One less mouth to feed. My mother's face had gone white. Why? I didn't know. You didn't want to know. Resolution. I looked at my brother. Derek, who'd shared a room with me growing up. Who'd taught me to ride a bike. Who'd promised we'd always be a team. When did you become someone who leaves his sister at the gate? He opened his mouth. Closed it. I could see the moment he realized he'd let other people's money matter more than his own sister. The balance is due, I said to Tom. Full amount. Today. Mrs. Thornton's face turned purple. We'll sue. The Thornton name. The Thornton name is mortgaged to 3 banks. I pulled your credit report. It's public record after bankruptcy. You're leveraged to the hilt. You can't afford to sue anyone. I nodded to Sarah. Call security. I want the Thorntons removed. You can't throw out the bride's parents. Vanessa shrieked. I can. It's my property. But I'll make you a deal. I looked at Derek. Option 1. Your in-laws leave and the wedding continues. Option 2. Everyone leaves. Derek, don't let her do this, Vanessa pleaded. But my brother was finally seeing clearly. I'm sorry, Maya. I'm so sorry. I should have stood up for you at the gate. I should have stood up for you years ago. Sorry doesn't pay the $20,000. I'll pay it. He pulled out his phone. My savings. All of it. I'll transfer it right now. Derek, no. Vanessa grabbed his arm. That's our honeymoon fund. That's Bali. My sister owns a castle and I left her standing at the gate. I think Bali can wait. The transfer went through. $20,000 paid in full. Security can stand down, I told Sarah. Then to the Thorntons, you can stay. But one more complaint and you're out. Mrs. Thornton looked like she'd swallowed a lemon, but she nodded. The reception resumed, though fundamentally changed. Guests who'd ignored me earlier suddenly wanted introductions. Cards appeared. I'm looking for event space. Do you invest in commercial properties? My mother approached tentatively. Why? I had no idea you were doing so well. You never asked. I know. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. You should have. But you were too busy being proud of Derek. Can we try again? I'd like to know about your business. Really know. I considered her. The woman who'd raised me, who'd also diminished me. Maybe. But Mom, I'm not going to beg for your attention anymore. If you want to know me, you have to actually show up. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Derek found me as evening wound down. The castle glowed in twilight. I meant what I said. I'm sorry. I know. What do I do now? You figure out who you are when you're not trying to impress people. And maybe you start by calling your sister once in a while. I can do that. He hesitated. The castle is really beautiful, Maya. You did an incredible thing here. I did. And you know what the best part is? I did it without needing anyone's permission. I just did it. As I drove away that night, past the gates that had blocked me that morning, I thought about the Maya who'd sat in her car 12 hours earlier, feeling small and excluded. She was gone. She'd never really existed. I'd never been the girl who needed to be let in. I'd always been the woman who owned the door. The following Monday I received 3 new venue inquiries. Word had spread fast. The castle owner who'd stood up to entitled guests became the talk of wedding planning circles. One email came from a bride who wrote, "I want a vendor who won't let my future in-laws push them around." Derek called that Tuesday. Not texting. Actually calling. "I told Vanessa we need marriage counseling," he said. "And I quit Dad's firm. I'm starting over, figuring out what I actually want." He paused. "Thank you. For not letting me get away with it." "You're welcome," I said. "Now don't make me regret giving you a second chance." 3 months later my mother showed up at one of my properties unannounced. She'd brought coffee and a notepad ready to finally listen. We sat in the lobby of a building I was renovating, and for the first time in years she asked real questions about my work. "I'm sorry I didn't see you," she said quietly. "I'm sorry I didn't try. It wasn't everything. But it was enough to start rebuilding."